Guerrilla gardening is the act of gardening on land that the people cultivating it don't have legal rights to. It is typically done on vacant lots in urban settings, or even in city-owned sidewalk strips of lawn. It is often done with the intent of provoking change and reclaiming neglected land to produce something useful. It is an avenue for empowerment, creating self-responsibility and reciprocity in communities.
Have you ever heard of guerrilla gardening or seen it being done?
I had never heard of it until you asked me, but I have seen it minimally, mostly in like big cities like Madison, or I've heard of it in the news where it's kind of been banned, but
Yeah.
unfortunately.
No.
To a certain degree, yeah.
I think it's basically the idea of gardening in spaces that are underutilized and maybe public property or maybe private, but not well used.
So do you think this is something that could be done on campus to provide fresh, free produce for students?
Yeah, definitely.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, to a certain degree, probably just like a farmer's market on campus, not campus-wide.
Would you be willing to help in the growing process if you knew it could greatly reduce your grocery bill?
Growing your own food is like printing your own money.
That's definitely something I would do. If I knew that, like, I had that available to me to, like, reduce my grocery bill, like, yeah, I would do that.
Sure, I like spending less money on groceries.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be fun to do.
If apple trees were planted on campus, would you help yourself to the fruit?
Yeah, I always had, like, I've thought about that kind of like with community gardening, just having like a fruit tree available for people. Like,
Yeah,
I've always kind of wanted to just like pull off an apple, but
definitely.
most like apple trees that you see that aren't in cultivation are kind of, they have bad apples.
Definitely. Like, apples are delicious.
It really depends. If it says like if it's for a certain purpose, probably not. But if it's just open to the public, yeah. And if it was open to the public, just because I like fresh fruit apples, are naturally grown, no pesticides.
Do you think the city government and campus administration would support this type of gardening?
I think that like if you presented the idea to them with a full plan and you had people who were willing to be like a maintenance crew,
Yeah.
then I definitely think that it would be supported.
Sure. I think they do other things with like the landscaping club, so this is pretty similar to that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Ames seems like a pretty fun, free town, and programs like this for college towns seem to work pretty well. I know my town that I came from like to do that kind of stuff. It really promotes healthy living, for sure.
So we've been here for 10 years. We've been contacted once, and that was to decrease the height on the corner, which is reasonable because it's kind of a tight corner and cars need to see oncoming traffic. So we did, but otherwise we haven't received any complaints. In fact, a lot of people who drive by compliment it.
According to Feeding America, 1 out of every 10 adults seeking food assistance are students.
For edible landscaping and guerrilla gardening, perennial vegetables are useful because they require very little maintenance and come back every spring.
Why plant edible landscaping?
Vegetables are beautiful too. So we will typically plant some sort of vegetable right in with the flowers or vice versa. So for example, we have kale along a busy sidewalk, and that's beautiful this time of year. Kind of a purple, blue, green frilly leaf.
There are hundreds of areas on campus with underutilized land. This land could be used to empower students to grow fruits and vegetables for themselves and other students in need.
Gardening is the most therapeutic, and defiant act you can do, especially in the inner city. Plus, you get strawberries.
We believe there is a practical way to incorporate the essence of guerrilla gardening here on campus, which would provide all the benefits of edible landscaping to students. Student organizations such as the Horticulture Club, Landscaping Club, and Forest Gardening Group would be the best ways to get involved with growing food on campus.
If you want to meet with me, come to the garden with your shovel so we can plant some shit. Peace.
In the true spirit of gangster gardening, just plant some shit. You can throw down strawberries or throw a handful of lettuce seeds and simply water them once a week. All that matters is you just do it.
I've done a little bit of what might be called guerrilla gardening. Some public spaces that are basically unmaintained. I've planted some trees, specifically some hazelnuts and chestnut trees. And I hope that they're of use to somebody at some point.
The types of perennial crops we would grow on campus includes trees and shrubs like apple trees, raspberries, blackberries, and gooseberries. In other areas, we will grow things such as wild leeks, asparagus, rhubarb, strawberries, and sunchokes would be grown.
Guerrilla gardening is a movement gaining popularity and success all over the country. Ron Finley and his group, LA Green Grounds, have been transforming South Central Los Angeles through the guerrilla gardening movement. They have used petitions and volunteer support to utilize vacant lots and roadside strips to grow fruits and vegetables for people in need. Ron Finley's vision and enthusiasm have transformed the population into banding together to take care of one another and to facilitate empowering change.
Plant some shit.